Well, welcome everybody here on this Monday visit with Coach Shafer, as we do each week. A little newsier this time around, Shafe, as you've had to reflect a little bit and in the effort to kind of keep going forward and no stone unturned to make your team better, you've made a change.
Yeah, that's right. You know, obviously sometimes you're forced into situations where you have injuries and that sort of thing, and you have to adjust to the elements. You know, in this situation, I felt like it was in the team's best interest to you know, have Coach Lester coordinate the offense and do the play calling. And that decision was very difficult, but it was made to a large degree less difficult because of the unselfishness of Coach McDonald. And, you know, extremely hard decision to make, but one that I felt was in the best interest of moving forward. And I know each and every one of us involved is moving forward to just find a way to continue to get better.
Okay, Coach Lester will continue as the quarterback coach, and there's so much cohesiveness among the staff members here, and he had been, while the head coach, the offensive coordinator at his Division III school before coming here. So move on from there, and you've got a quarterback issue as well. We all kind of feared with Terrell that it might be something where he'd miss a game or so, and looks like a little more than that.
Yeah, they're gonna you know, they told us it's gonna be 4 to 6 weeks till he gets back to getting up on his feet and moving around. So unfortunate for Terrell. You know, I just feel so bad for the young man, as well as, you know, all the kids that go through the the natural part of this game, which is injuries and fighting your way back. So with that being said, you know, feel terrible for him, but it is that reality, and now we're going to move forward this week and try to develop a plan, you know, for Austin and AJ, and have Mitch ready to go as well. And you know, as we speak, we're working on that and making decisions as to how we'll, you know, come up with a plan to go up against number one team in the country.
Oh yeah. Oh, by the way. You know, more so maybe than in previous years. When Ryan Nassib was the quarterback here, he's an NFL quarterback. It was a deep drop-off. You know, if something had happened to him, you would have been in very deep trouble. With this situation, you have 2-3 guys that are in development. How do you start evaluating them? Obviously, Austin Wilson has seen a little game time, including briefly when Terrell had to miss a play or two on Friday night. So where do you start getting your hands around that?
Well, we started getting our minds wrapped around that, you know, right after the kids started playing for us, even though it was at practice and in scrimmage situations. And I think all three of those young men have the skill sets to do it. The thing you never know is until they get out there. So Austin's been out there, and he's done some good things out there. AJ has done an extremely good job throughout the course of practice against our number one defense, to the point where, well, he was actually Scout Team Player of the Week the last 2 or 3 weeks. And he's going against, you know, the ones. And, you know, a lot of comments from the defensive kids, man, that kid's pretty good. So, you know, there's definitely a drop-off because Terrell's a very good quarterback, and his development just continued to ramp up. But now with him being out, you know, we go to the next ball player up, and you know, we're going to try to come up with a great plan and move forward and be excited about it, and that's where we are.
Yeah, Terrell is so tough. You feel for him. He wanted to be back on the field, and obviously it would take something significant, in this case the fractured fibula, to get him off the field. Can he be a help here as another assistant coach, especially if you're changing roles there?
Yeah, for sure. You know, and he's actually coming up later today, and we're going to sit and talk a little bit about how his role is going to be moving forward as he's in rehab. But there's a lot of strength and confidence that can be passed from starting quarterback to the next guys that are going to be playing. And he needs to take that experiential learning and pass it along to, you know, those 3 guys that'll be competing to play. You know, and when I look at it, it's going to be less of a competition as to which guy does better this week during practice, and more of, hey, let's come up with a plan. If we choose to use 2 guys, then let's use 2 guys, give them pieces of the game plan. There'll be carryover with feeling good about the fact that both guys can do a lot of the same things, but we'll also need to do a good job accentuating the strengths of each one of those guys. So, you know, to me, it's similar to some of the things we did in the past. You know, when Dyshawn Davis was a young linebacker, I put him in and I blitzed him. And then we slowly taught him how to do the other things, and he did a great job learning those things. Same thing, from a quarterback point of view, you accentuate the things that they do well. There's strength in saying, hey, you're good at these 4 or 5 things. This will be a big part of your game plan. And then you take the next guy and say, hey, you're a different guy. You give us a change-up. We're going to use these types of things. In the ideal world, you'd love to have one quarterback that can do all those things. But right now, I think the reality is we don't want to put that weight on any singular player. So that's how we're kind of approaching it here, Monday at noon as we put together a game plan against, best team in the country.
It's just incredible how this is what you signed up for, playing at this level and the way that things line up. And we wish the best to Terrell Hunt, and we'll check back in on him in 4 weeks or so and see if he can help again. And was going to ask you that about maybe both of those guys. Is there an element of, particularly this, as it relates to this week's game, that, hey, throw whatever you have up against the wall and see what sticks here. Because you are playing a Florida State team that you'd be in deep water against, even the best of times.
Well, yeah, I mean, I really try to go into each game plan, regardless of who it is, with the same mindset that let's make sure we have, every piece of ammunition that we own in our holsters as we go into this game. And I always felt like you're not prepared if you go into a game and say, well, we should beat this team, we shouldn't have to use a trick play. You never know when you're going to have to pull that thing out. And you don't want to look back and say, well, shoot, we should have had something ready just in case. So this, like every game, no different than Game 1, Villanova, we're going to have everything, all the ammunition that we feel is necessary, and we have to do a great job saying let's make quick decisions on what we're going to use, and then say we have all our ammunition, and then go into the game plan with it and let it rip. And that's the way we'll do it, and it's a blast. I mean, this is what it's all about, and I'm looking forward to taking this challenge on with these kids.
All right, let's spend a minute or so to wrap it up here on Florida State. If they're not the most talented team in the country, they're right there in the discussion. Number 1 now in both polls, 21 straight wins. They've got everything you'd want to, speaking of Arsenal, in your lineup.
Yeah, they sure do. It always starts with an excellent head coach, and Jimbo does a great job. He does a great job. His kids play for him. And then he's got great defensive minds across the board. When you watch them, they're well coached. They know exactly what they're doing, and they have a ton of manpower to go with it. So, it starts with on the offensive side, obviously, Jameis Winston, and there's a reason he was the Heisman Trophy winner last year, and there's a reason why he led that team during a tough situation to a national title. And the thing that was most impressive to me, especially in that game, was he was really forced when the chips were down to make plays, because really throughout the course of that season he was never put in that very difficult situation. And then it's the national championship game.
You're saying because most of the years, the blowout wins.
They were blowout wins. It was over, and yeah, they had to clean some stuff up, but some one-handed catches and some acrobatics by some of those kids that were playing for him helped his cause. So, very impressive football player, very impressive team. Their defenses, we played a great defense last week in Louisville, but this defense this week is, boy, they're special, and they have some freakish athleticism on that side of the ball, and we're going to have to do a great job coming up with a plan and going against this #1 team, But that's what we signed up for. That's exactly what I love about it, And been in this situation before, and I'm looking forward to being in it again.
Well, it's a busy work week for you, and now a rejiggered staff. We wish you the best to get back at it.
Okay, thank you, Matt.
Orange head coach Scott Shafer. It's Orange Central this weekend, Shafe, and people coming back. There is a little bit of a roadmap there. 30 years ago last week when the Orange knocked off #1 Nebraska, and they had a very poor performance the previous week. We'll see if the Orange can take on the Seminoles with some pride this week. It's a Saturday kickoff just past noon in the Dome. For Scott Shafer, I'm Matt Park. Thanks for watching Cuse TV.